Why umbrellas?
Well, I have this vision of walking down Regent Street and it raining. And as I'm walking down Regent Street, walking towards me, lots of people carrying the Sister Snog umbrella. And then I will know that the brand really has arrived in the centre of London.
Power to Live More with Joe Dodds.
Welcome to the Power to Live More podcast, all about productivity, organisation, well-being, energy and resilience. I'm Jo Dodds, and I started this show to enable interesting people to share their stories about how they use their power to live more, and by that I mean to do the stuff that they want to do more than the stuff that they need to or should do. It's about creating a life for yourself where you have the energy, health and space to be happy and fulfilled, spending your time as you'd like, whether that be at work, home or somewhere else entirely. That's your choice.
Hello, my name is Hela Dodds and I'm co-presenter, and today Joe's interviewing Hela Wozniak-Kay of Sister Snog. Hela is another of the guests introduced to Joe by Paula Gardner, who was on show number 2. Top tip if you need some guests for your podcast, start by interviewing a PR consultant. Jo says she doesn't think she's laughed as much during any of the other interviews so far. This was a highly entertaining and enlightening chat. They had such a great time during the interview that on the day that this podcast is published, the 7th of course, which will make sense when you listen to it, they are meeting up for the first time in the lovely town of Rye to climb a church to see the view from miles around, as well as to continue to develop their new connection. Hela is a curious entrepreneur and Uber connector. She's an enthusiastic who's passionate about brands that sparkle, businesswoman who shine, and connecting the two at Sister Snog, a rather remarkable business club for women with an entrepreneurial makeup and mindset who share a desire to connect with like minds who can help their businesses reach the heady heights of success thanks to the support of hashtag shockingly helpful tribe. Back to the studio.
Today I'm interviewing Hela Wozniak-Kay of Sister Snog. Hi Hela, great to have you with me.
Good morning, and hope you're well.
Yes, and we were just saying it's nice and sunny outside today, so it's a good day to be doing an interview, albeit the window's closed, so I might be a bit hot in the moment.
And even though it is Friday the 13th, dum 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 dum.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yes. So I won't be walking under any ladders today. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Or crossing strange lines or walking on the cracked pavement. So I'm avoiding all things.
Well, so will I now you've warned me.
Yeah, good. That's a top tip. Make sure on Friday the 13th.
But if you're feeling worried, make sure everyone else is.
Yeah, totally.
Lovely. So tell us a bit more about you, apart from that you're superstitious. Who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Cilla Black, isn't it? What's your name and where'd you come from?
Yeah, I always think that when I say that. Nobody's picked that up yet, but every time I say it, it reminds me of Blind Date.
Yeah, and we did love Cilla. She was a great character. So the question was, yes, who am I? I am, I describe myself in my job or my role to be one of the tribal leaders of a group of Amazonian women who are all entrepreneurs building empires of various sizes. And so that's, the tribe is called Sister. The members are known as sisters. Are you hearing me, Mother?
No, you went. Did you tell me you were going?
Yes.
Oh.
No. I was just teleported for a moment, but I'm back. So that's what I do. I run Sister Snog together with my partner in crime, Annie Brooks, who's not here at the moment. but I'm working out of the home office, which is the east wing of Snog Towers.
I have just visions now.
Good. Well, that's excellent, because it is a terrific tower and it has a moat and all the flowers in the garden are purple.
Oh, I'm feeling really inadequate now in my little office.
Oh, I didn't mean to make you feel that way, but yeah. So Snog Towers is where we hang out and we cook up our various plans for the business and make it a special place for our members. And we're constantly keeping ourselves on our toes and having our next idea waiting in the wings. So that means that we have to be super productive.
Yes. So tell me a bit more about what you're actually doing with your tribe, your Amazonian tribe. What sort of things do you do?
What do we do? Well, we organise a number of events because people need to, interact. So we have 3 events a month. We have one on the first Friday of every month, which is known as the First Friday Lunch. We have a business boosting, a brainstorming breakfast, which is difficult to say.
I love alliteration.
I love a bit of alliteration. And so the aim of that is to bring sisters together, and we have different subjects each month. So I'm actually been doing some work on next week's, which is, the theme is 6 degrees of separation, which obviously is dear to my heart, because really my view is that you need to be connected in business, because everybody is connected to each other, and that's how you'll get the doors open. And then we also are into storytelling. So we have another event which alternates between something called Story Time in a Teacup. So the theme is, it's always around afternoon tea, or Once Upon a Dinner Time. So those are our key anchor events. But the thing about Sister Snog is those that are members, essentially it's like having your own kind of A-team of brand ambassadors, door openers, collaborators, and those that you can work with who are also building empires. So you're on the same beam, have a similar makeup and mindset, and create magic. And our goal is, and we're nearly there, is we shall be closing the door when we become the Hot 100. And then who knows what we'll do,
Yeah.
Maybe have a crazy conference or, launch a brand of umbrellas.
Why umbrellas?
Well, I have this vision of walking down Regent Street and it raining. And as I'm walking down Regent Street, walking towards me, a lot of people carrying the Sister Snog umbrella. And then I will know that the brand really has arrived in the centre of London. And, the umbrellas will be made by a company who have this fabric that changes colour when it rains. So our brand colours are lilac and violet. So there'll be all these colour changing umbrellas going up Regent Street. So I hope you'll join me come that day.
That sounds just amazing, and I can't imagine it wouldn't get on telly and everything. It sounds brilliant.
There we go.
Lovely. So you're already coming across as somebody who's probably very busy, packs a lot in, and probably gets a lot done. But also that you're not always in your office, because obviously you've got events that you're going to as well. So tell me a bit about what your working week looks like. Do you have a certain routine? Do you have certain ways of getting things done? Does it become a bit more fluid? How's it all work for you?
So, well, yes. I mean, there isn't a typical day, but there is, if you like, a typical month, because we always have to anchor that the events are happening. So there is work to be done before the event, which has to be scheduled in, and then there's work to do after the event. So each event is its own little kind of dot on the calendar. So when we have an event coming, we have to get out the guest list. We have to make sure that everybody's happy. After the event, we buzz up with social media. So that's one aspect. So those dates I do have to look at my calendar, constantly, because I need to make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time. Our events generally are the first Friday lunches are on the first Friday of the month, so that's always there. The beginning of the week, Monday, I see as a planning day and a desk day where I generally will not go into London, because it's all very well being out there being busy, but it can catch up on you if you don't sort of manage the monster of things to do. Mm-hmm. So Mondays are when we'll catch up, we'll make phone calls, we'll send emails, we'll plan, maybe if there's something that I'm going to write, who I'm going to see. Tuesdays, quite often, are a day when I will go into London, because that's when someone is interested in joining the tribe and becoming a sister, I always have a 1 hour mutual, not an interview, I have a 1 hour taste of Sister Snog. I meet them, they meet me, we can kind of sort of see if the chemistry's right. And a taste of Sister Snog lasts 1 hour. And my aim is always to do as many of those that I can on a Tuesday. So therefore, I'm in London, I'm focused, I'm using that time. And then I may go into London one other day. If there's kind of an event to go to, I also do organise something that I call Sisters Dates. So I actually have dates with my members, because that way I get to know them a little bit more. It's amazing what happens when two people sit down and just talk about whatever is going on in their business. So that's kind of, how I am. But I'm one of these people who is kind of constantly on the go. So my phone is, when I'm on the bus, when I'm on the train, when I'm occasionally queuing up at the supermarket, I might just do a little bit of something, send a quick tweet. I've even kind of written a strange little poem about it when people say I'm too busy. I'm never too busy. I'm always doing lots of things. Because I kind of find, people who sigh and roll their eyeballs and say I'm really busy, they're probably not doing very much. They're just being busy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. You doing sort of little bits in little places, if you like, when you're in the queue somewhere or whatever. It's very much the way that I operate. And I think sometimes people then take the view, perhaps who don't have a business, or perhaps people in your family, that you're, addicted to your phone, and you can't stop yourself working. And I always sort of say to them, actually, it's the opposite way around. If I can use these little bits of time more productively, then I've got more time to spend, big chunks of time doing the things that I want to do, spending time with my daughter or whatever. But you can see why people, give you that sort of label. Do you get the label to that you don't stop working?
I don't really get the label, but people never really have, apart from you just now, asked me how you manage to get the things done that you do, because you're right. I cram in an amazing social life. I'm friends are kind of key, and I think my oldest friend has just become a grandma, which is a bit weird, but we've known each other since we were 10. So I keep up. I do have one friend who says sometimes I exhaust her, but she likes, she's definitely someone who does one thing a week as opposed to one thing a day. And in fact, I never do one thing a day. I do lots of things. So I think it's down to the individual, and you can so easily waste time. I wouldn't say daydreaming is a bad thing, because I love daydreaming. It's very good for you. But, wasting the opportunities of being on the bus and just sitting there looking out of the window where I could have done, 20 minutes work.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting. I think probably that networking piece that, which is a lot of your business, and it's a lot of stuff that I've done in the past, probably is part of it too. I guess it's our personalities. But I suppose I always say that I don't think there's a big difference between work life and home life in my situation, because that's how I choose it to be. I was writing something on Facebook today about I don't agree with this work-life balance thing, because I sort of think it's an integrated situation, and you just turn your hand to whatever is needed or you want to do, depending on what's going on. It isn't necessarily about it being work or life, and they're two different things. But I do think some of that is possibly about that whole social interaction piece, that a lot of what I'm doing, and I think sounds like what you're doing, is about connecting with people, and that's a social thing as well as a work thing, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, my sister's dates are always in interesting, nice, wonderful places with people who are actually technically, and it's true, my clients, but it's more than that. They feed me, I feed them, and then quite often we come up with something that is bigger than both of us. That is my work. So how brilliant is that? And going to events, yes, they need, organising, everything needs to work, but it's a way where, I can express some of, creativity. So, for example, when we have the lunches on the first Friday, there's always a different kind of theme that has a strategic business link, but it's dressed in a big bow. And, I need to think about styling that. So, I would have loved to have been, one of those window stylists for Harvey Nichols or Selfridges. Yeah. But I'm actually doing that on a monthly basis at First Friday. Yeah. And it's brilliant because everyone wonders what it's going to look like. I'm even thinking I must actually, say how I do that, because it's always important to do things also on a budget, so that if you've got £1 million, you could do anything. But if you've got £10 per table, how do you creatively do something? So Sister Snog keeps me on my toes as much as hopefully it keeps the members fed with creative spark and interest. And if you have something that you created that's beautiful and wonderful, great business occurs. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're wearing... Sorry. Yeah. So it sounds like you do the same as well, because the creative spark feeds, the work feeds the life, and the life feeds the work, I suppose.
Yeah, and I do think, I think you're a really good example of somebody doing the things that they really want to do, and it happens to be a business in there as well. But it's about, as you said, sort of the bits that you really enjoy forming most of your time, which is great. So tell me about how you actually make sure you get stuff done. Do you have a to-do list, or do you use particular tools?
I do. I am a Virgo who loves lists, and I've got. So my essential tool of life, which includes work and play and organising everything else, is Evernote. And I'm not quite sure how I possibly existed before Evernote came on the scene. It's just because I used to have loads of notebooks. Everywhere I'd be writing, and then my writing would get all messy, and then I wouldn't know what I'd written, and then I had one here and one there, and my bag was full of books. And now I have Evernote, and it's not just a place to put your notes and to do your to-do list. You can just it's a library. It's my library where I can put all sorts of things. And I'm always learning new it's things about, I didn't realise you could do that, and now I can put that there, and I can store this. So I am a massive fan of Evernote, and I don't know, I can understand you've got to get into it and buy into it, but it's kind of like a sort of effortless solution, and you can share what you're doing with those that are also on Evernote. So I think it's like a killer app that is just gorgeous, and whatever you want, music, video, photos, it's kind of like a sort of seamless snapshot of thoughts, ideas, and information.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big Evernote fan.
Hurrah!
In fact, I'm looking at it.
For Evernote.
In fact, I'm looking at it as we speak, because that's where I keep my list of questions.
There you see. So we're both Evernote fans.
Yeah.
At some stage, I do feel I might go on a course somewhere just to find out the bits because you can get into bad habits, I think, with anything. So there may be some eureka moments or some shortcuts I'm missing out on. But for now, I think it's about 2 years I've been using it, and, you know, I think it's great.
I can probably offer up a couple of resources for that. I think Steve Dotto has a series of Evernote videos. I know, it's a great name, isn't it? Dotto. He's quite fun to watch, and he has a series of videos about using Evernote. In fact, I listened to a blab, I think it was, that he did with a couple of other productivity people a little while ago, where they talked about if you're new to Evernote, the thing to do is start with a few specific notebooks for a specific reason. Because as you say, you have to get into it, because to begin with you just forget to use it, but once you start to use it, you never stop using it, sort of thing. And so it was about picking some things that would work really well. So he gave some examples of things like I don't know, measurements for things like one of the things he gave, although I can't imagine my husband ever doing this, was having your wife's measurements in your
just in case.
So when you're out and about. So my brother-in-law does this. He regularly buys clothes for his wife when he's in America and stuff. So he probably just knows what to get anyway. But, you know, if you didn't know that, write all the stuff down, have it in your Evernote. When you're somewhere and you've got your phone available, you see something, you can, you know, check, make sure you've got the right size or whatever. So I thought that was quite interesting. But it's also things like taking pictures of stuff that you've got for insurance purposes that, you know, you don't realise you needed to do that until you had a burglary and lost everything. So take a load of pictures and just stick them into Evernote. I've started using it to scan in stuff that I've previously kept. So, you know, like, I don't know, orders of service at weddings or cards that people have sent me and things like that. I just scan them in and then chuck them away so that I don't have a load of old, you know, bits of paper in the house, but I've actually kept the information so I can read the stuff in the future, but it's just hidden away on Evernote and actually not taking up any space in my house, which I think is a good tip.
Well, do you know, it's interesting you said that, because since we've moved to Hove, you know, I still have some boxes, and I used to be a bit of I'm not a hoarder, but I was a collector of cards that went back to, I can't even tell you how far back, all these bunches of cards, and some, you know, key birthdays. Yes, I'll keep my 40th or my 50th. Yeah. But, you know, do I really need all those Christmas cards? And then I used to kind of, you know, file the ones that my friends had sent me. So, you know, my friend Sarah had filed everything that she'd ever sent me, and this is really quite bizarre. And I just thought, I need to do something with them, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
Hurrah!
So if I just did what I said rather than had the piles, I'd be brilliant. But I know I'm going to do it, and I've done it with some of them. I just have piles I haven't got to yet. But yeah, it works really well as a way of decluttering. So yeah, there you go, top tip. I'm trying to think who the other guy was. There was a book, something like Evernote Essentials, by somebody who I think was called something like Bradley, but I'll look it up and put it in the show notes. And it's quite a comprehensive book about how to use Evernote that I read when I first started using it. So he's certainly worth a read as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I shall be seeking out Mr. Dotto first.
Yes.
Because I like him already.
He is a bit mad. So this very busy, some may say frenetic life that you have. What about the end of the day? So what do you do to sort of finish work, or do you finish work, or do you just, like I said, just keep going and things all meld into one? How does it work at the end of the day?
Well, I kind of like to do what I want to do, so I may work one evening. But what I also like to do, I mean, we're into having family meals, so cooking is something that I love, and we are definitely, what's the recipe, who's making it. So that is one of my relaxations, is to make gorgeous food that looks gorgeous, because I cannot just sort of plate it up without it having a sense of style about it. So
why am I not surprised?
That's kind of something that I like, and I have keep thinking, I saw someone doing it on Instagram the other day, because I like to do things in a round. So I always arrange things in around, I was thinking, oh, maybe I should sort of like, stick those. I do put some of them on Instagram because I also love photographs and photography as a pure iPhone amateur, capturing the moment of the moment.
Yeah.
So yes, cooking is something that I do. I also am definitely a Netflix addict, but I might have it on in the background. So I do like things that are series, Netflix originals. So House of Cards, Suits, Orphan Black, Once Upon a Time. I really like anything that's got a story that continues.
Yeah.
In fact, Once Upon a Time did inspire Once Upon a Dinner Time, because I don't know if you've seen it, but it's all about fairy tales, and it's just fantastic and seems to be going on forever. It's probably going to go on for about another 10 years, and I hope. So I like stories. I like stories about people, and I'm not like I don't actually have a telly, so everything is on iPlayer or Netflix. So I like to choose what I watch when I watch it.
Yeah.
That's something. But I also love going to the pictures, and, being in Brighton, there is so much going on. We could be out at some kooky, gorgeous, performance, or, dance, or theatre, or comedy. So anything that's live, that I love as well.
Mm.
So it's kind of, being entertainment is really important, and I think businesses should think about, are they entertaining their audiences, i.e. their clients and their world, and a lot of them are not, and a lot of them are.
Yeah. So at the very end of all that, how do you switch off? How do you make your brain go to sleep so that you can go to sleep? Because that's one thing I struggle with.
Well, I have to say, I put my head on the pillow and go.
Oh no, you're not one of those annoying people like my daughter and my husband, are you?
Yeah. It's like, it is really, I don't have some sort of crazy or any sort of ritual at night. Once I'm in bed, I'm out, but I'm a very, very kind of early bird, so I do sometimes wake up very early, and particularly in the spring, the summer, and the autumn, maybe not quite so much in the winter, I'm up and at 'em, and like to have a little bit of my time in the morning, and it's kind of like that, morning is broken, Cat Stevens song.
You're not going to start singing, are you?
Well, no, but I did have a choir once upon a time, and that's another story. So I do have a little bit of reflection before I switch the motor on, and I've kind of got into, morning gratitude. So I will, in Evernote, in my notebook that's called Gratitudes, write some things that I'm quite grateful for on a daily basis, because I think you can get caught up in, other stuff. So my 7 is the kind of magic number at Sister Snog, so I always write 7 gratitudes, nearly always, most days.
Yeah, of course, 7, that sounds like a lot. Do you end up having to talk about you're grateful for, I don't know, a glass of water? I don't know, or does it come flat?
No. No, it flows. I could probably do 14, but then that would just be too many. No, 7 is good, and it does. So something like one for every day of the week. But then I don't know. There's something about the number 7. 7 wonders, 7 dwarfs.
Yes, and I do 7s too. Yeah. My birthday's on the 7th, so I've always said that having 7 as my lucky number is acceptable, because my birthday is the 7th, and little Dodsy's birthday is also the 7th, so she has 7 as her lucky number too.
And there was a study last year, and it was published in Metro, about what is the luckiest number, and it did come out that it was 7. And I can't tell you how many people sent me a link or sent me a hard copy of that article, because people know that 7 is the number. So you're in the 7th, hurrah!
Yes, exactly.
It's not the 7th month, though, is it?
No. It's the 6th month. It's the 7th of June. So yeah, it would have been extra, whatever, wouldn't it? But
yeah. Well, nearly. So next month. Okay. Yeah, lovely. I'll try and remember that.
So, what about keeping healthy and how you look after yourself? You've talked about some of your sort of rituals, if you like, around the gratitude and so on. Are there other things that and you talked about food, obviously you like cooking, so that will help as well, but are there other
I like cooking, yeah.
Other things specifically to look after yourself?
Just recently got a personal trainer.
Oh, get you.
I know. Goodness me. And it's brilliant. She really is brilliant. And so it is early days. I haven't transformed yet. And she's really good because she looks at, it's not about, doing some crazy boot camp training thing, because I don't wish to be tortured. But she's also helping me. What I love about her is we can train anywhere, and I'm kind of helping her understand her business as well. And one of the things is how to turn your home into a gym. So I have exercises now to do on the steps, to do on chair, even things to pick up that are around the house. And that's what we're going to do, and we will do in due course some videos of turn your house into a gym. So there's no excuses for not doing 20 minutes and then, having a break and doing another 20 minutes. And the other thing is swimming. Since I've moved here, I haven't really got into it, but I was swimming when I was in Greenwich, 2 or 3 times a week. But that's the next thing. And there is a pool, maybe 10 minutes away. So an early morning swim. And when I was swimming in the leisure centre, it was in Lewisham near Greenwich, I always wanted to be the first in the pool. That was my kind of, I just want to be the first in the pool. And I never was, but I still have that, because it makes you sort of get up and go. And those are the things. I also did have, I need to perhaps get back into this. I did once learn how to rollerblade. So I do have some rollerblades, and I can see myself rollerblading along the seafront.
Yeah, that sounds like a very trendy thing to do for Hove. And I reckon as you live a bit more provincially now, you might make it into the swimming pool first thing if you try really hard.
I might do, yeah. I'm hoping to. I'll let you know when I've done it.
Exactly. So what about learning and improving yourself? I imagine, again, through your personality, you probably do that on a regular basis. What sort of things do you do?
Yeah, well, I can get a bit distracted by certain things. I mean, I do, I really like Medium Daily Digest. And so today's Medium Daily Digest, it had these, it's kind of eclectic things because they always set me off. So today's articles that I liked, one was Elevate Yourself with Side Projects, which I think is a very good thing, because if you're only doing one thing and you're consumed by it, I've always got at least 6 other plates spinning that I'm doing. So it's not just Sister Snog or family or friends. I've always got other things that are on the go.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, because otherwise you just become one-dimensional. The other article, it was called Collecting Experiences. How to stay productive even when interrupted, which I thought was very relevant to today.
Yeah.
And the other one, does the fake it till you make it attitude towards business work? Yes. And I do think it, if you want to be someone, even if you're not it, behave as if you are, and you will become it. So those were my 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, daily reads for today. I do read a lot of books. The only thing is when I put one down and I don't pick another one up immediately, it might take me another few weeks. I need to have a book on the go. I read, also, I mean, I've read everything that there is, if someone says Anthony Robbins, I've read him. If someone says, Dawn French, yes, I've read her. I haven't read War and Peace, but I I did watch the drama, which is very good.
Funny you should say that. My father-in-law read War and Peace a couple of years ago. He got right into his reading about history, and he persevered, and he read it. I think he was a bit put out when they put the programme out, because it could have saved him a lot of time and effort.
Having gone through that. I mean, maybe one day I will read it, because some of the greats do need to be read. I mean, I have read quite a lot because I did English at A level, and so I've always liked and admired, and I also like diaries. I like people's lives to know how they lived and what they did, and how they got through the various days. So reading, seeing, I mean, social media. I mean, you could just consume it all day. If you wanted to. So I am a consumer, and I am a bit of a curator in that I like to put things together. So I don't know, Pinterest, for example, I do have a bit of a guilty pleasure. I can lose myself there. But I think it's important to be a creator as well. So writing is important, your own voice and your opinions and getting those out. Yes, so that's it. And one of my favourite books is Purple Cow
by Seth Godin. Yes, yeah.
Yes, because that's what we kind of are at Sister Snog. We are a Purple Cow brand, and our aim is to always be remarkable.
Yes, yeah. So just going back to that, you said Medium Daily Digest. Is that a newsletter list or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of these, that you sign up for. And I really like it because it's nicely presented. I mean, some of them, when you get them, just don't look very nice. And it's always intelligent. It's like, Licorice All Sorts. I mean, there's such a mishmash of different subjects. And the writing is just really good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
So, I give that the thumbs up. And I'm sure you could write for them. I keep thinking I want to, but I haven't got there yet. But
I'll go and have a look.
We can have a race.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely won't be getting in the swimming pool before you, so we'll just go for this.
We'll do that one.
on 2 points. One, I don't really like getting wet, and 2, I don't get up early. But apart from that, I do brilliant.
There you go. Apart from that, yeah, there you go.
So you talked a bit about Netflix. Are there any particular films or music you recommend for inspiration or learning or anything?
Not necessarily. I mean, music. I'm just inspired by all disco music. So that's what I would have on in the background if I'm getting myself, into a good frame of mind.
Yeah.
But that's me personally, being a disco queen. And interestingly, a few weeks ago, the thing about Sister Snog is that sisters also do become friends in business. It's not that you have to be, but there seems to be a general gravitating that people have similar interests. And one of the sisters was celebrating her 50th and invited, people to celebrate with her at the Rivoli Ballroom for a 70s evening. That was fantastic, and everybody was, really dressed up in 70s gear, and, I think if you have a common like, so I like that. Films that inspire me. I'm quite often inspired by films that have a certain amount of overcoming struggle, that people have got through something, that face something, because running your own business, being an entrepreneur, you do have to sometimes find something in yourself on the days where perhaps everything isn't quite rosy and peachy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's a really good link into the next question, which is, what about if things don't go right? So if you have one of those days where it's not so great, you might watch one of those.
Have I had them? Of course I have. I've had loads. I'm not sure I'd necessarily watch the struggle film. I think I'd watch something, I think I might watch Miranda, or something, or a sort of 1960s, one of the St. Trinian things where life was a bit simpler and there was no phone. But if things haven't gone right, I'm a great one of living for the moment and the day, and sometimes things do happen, and sometimes the worst thing in the world feels like it's happened, but it's not really. And I just accept that was it. That was the day, and tomorrow's another day. And I'm quite philosophical, and I might cry. So I cry.
That's an option.
Yeah, or I'll ring up Annie, who's my business partner, because we never not have fun and share and laugh on the phone, and I mean, I don't sort of wear my troubles on my sleeve. I kind of am a bit more private, but I will. I'm quite accepting, and I always know you can't have a rainbow without some rain.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's true.
I know. There you go.
Profound.
That's my poignant, profound thought of the day.
Yeah, I think it's true, isn't it, that if everything was wonderful all the time, you probably wouldn't appreciate it. So I guess that sometimes the sort of more challenging times sort of help you to appreciate the other times. It's funny, there was something on Facebook today about somebody talking about happiness. I can't quite remember what they'd said, and I talked about it before, I think, which was that I went to an event a little while ago while they had somebody talking about how to be happier, and I spent the whole of her talk vaguely offended that she would be assuming that I wasn't happy and that I wanted to be happier. And it really sort of got in the way of my appreciation of what she was saying, because I just was completely offended, because I thought, well, I am happy and I don't need you to tell me how to be happier, because I'm happy, thank you.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Happiness and sadness, and you in life and in days have to have it all. You have to be happy, you have to be sad, you don't have to be miserable. That's not a great trait. But then sometimes people have clouds, and they need to work out how to shift them. Yeah. But nothing's ever that bad. It just isn't.
No.
It might feel it for a moment, but I think the longer you're around, you realise you've been there before, you got through it, this happened, and sometimes, instead of a bus, a limo comes along.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, as you say, as you get older, you recognise those clouds for what they are, and you tend to know where they've come from, or at least that they're going to go. And as we talk about, some of the things that you might do to make them feel not so bad, sort of thing. So you do learn how to sort of manage those things better, I think, as you get older. I certainly feel like I have.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So on a day when you end the day knowing that you've had the chance to live more, and I talk about that being about being able to do the stuff that you want to do rather than necessarily the stuff you should do or you feel you ought to do, that sort of thing. What will you have done? What does that day look like?
I think that day will have been filled with people. It won't have been a solitary day. It will have been, I got up, got on the train, had a nice chat with someone who was perhaps a stranger, got into town. I'm saying in London, it can be in Brighton. I still see London as I'm going somewhere different, and I've kind of filled it with magic, with people. People give me the magic, I think, and also I'll have snuck off and found some amazing, gorgeous bargains in somewhere, and I'll be coming home with 1 or 2 bags, and I'll have eaten well, and I'll just kind of feel, I'll feel like I'm in a Netflix movie. That's how I feel.
I was going to say, you're the first person who said that they'll have done some shopping, but you're also the first person to say you feel like you've been in a Netflix movie. So, I mean, both of those. Kudos.
Yeah. Create your own film. And, and I would like, for the record, Goldie Hawn to play me.
You see, I was thinking, what's that... Audrey Hepburn, I was imagining that sort of city life type thing. But yeah, I can go for Goldie Hawn as well. Yeah.
Goldie Hawn, yes, definitely a bit of Goldie Hawn. That's who I would think we should all know who's going to play us when a film's made about our lives. So I'll leave you to get back to me on that one.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to post that in my group today as well, because I think that's a great question for everybody to have a think about. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we'll have a think about that very one. Yeah.
Yeah, Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, I always used to be, when I had short hair and I was much younger, I always used to get compared to, what's her name? The one who was married to Bruce Willis. She was in Ghost.
Oh, Demi Moore.
Demi Moore, because my haircut was like hers around the Ghost time. So I used to take that as a good compliment, but I'm not sure I know anything about who she is or whether that would give. I'd quite like somebody like I'm not very good at remembering names. The Congeniality woman, what's her name? Miss Congeniality, Sandra Bullock.
Oh, Sandra Bullock.
Bit feisty, bit funny.
I can see a bit of, yeah. She's got that kind of look.
Bit
combination of the two. No, I think that's, I like that. So, yeah, find out who people want to be. I always sort of, I had this crazy idea the other day and I think I'm going to do it for the Sister Snog Facebook group and do which of these is a sister, and have a sister and then two other kind of celebrities who look similar to them, and you've got to sort of say which one is a sister of Sister Snog. But there we go.
Oh, well, there you go. This conversation's taken a whole new route to the one where I imagined it would be by now.
None of it is anything I've written down as well.
That's brilliant. So it's been
any use of anybody listening at all, but
I'm sure it has been. And it's been really.
Can I just mention?
Sorry. Can
I just mention an app that I wanted to say, or two apps about productivity?
I'm glad you're saying that, because I thought I didn't ask if she had any more apps, and now we've gone to nearly the end of the interview. I don't know if it would be inappropriate to ask, so I was thinking about asking you. So please, Hela, tell me, are there any apps that you would recommend?
Well, I'm not sure that it is actually an app, but there's something called Dream It Alive.
Oh, not heard of that one. What's that?
I don't know if you've. Well, Dream It Alive is it's a place where you can just create your own sort of vision boards and dream boards. And, they declare dreams and make them come alive, because we all need to dream and we all need to have goals, and it's all about, writing them down, but you need to turn them into pictures so you can see them. So whether it's a house or whether it's, I keep saying, and I've announced it, we'd love to have Sister Snog kind of in New York. So dream board with, Empire State, yellow taxis, Macy's bags, lots of sisters. So have a look at Dream It Alive, and you still create dream boards, and they're like vision boards, but it helps you visualize. And then the other one is Pocket, because yes, you'll see something, and where do you put it? If you just kind of store it in a place that gets lost, you won't go back to it, but you can build up your Pocket to be those things that you can have a look at.
You mean articles online, don't you? Pocket, I love Pocket.
So, and I do also like, for those that don't have time to blog, but have an area that's their subject, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Scoop it, so you can create your own sort of scoops and write your own comments on X, Y, or Z. So, you might not, writing a blog does take time and research and thoughts, but I really like Scoop It. And I love Rebel Mouse as well.
What was that last one? Rebel Mouse?
Rebel Mouse, yeah.
Mouse, not mouse.
Mouse, as in who ate my cheese.
Oh, it was mouse. Okay, yeah. And what does that do?
Yeah, Rebel Mouse, so Rebel Mouse kind of aggregates all your kind of tweets and pins, and it has a snapshot of your social output. So have a little look on at Rebel Mouse, and it does it for you. You just register, and if you're on Instagram, Pinterest, and you can see what you're doing, and you get a feeling for who you are and what you're putting out there. And I don't know, if you don't like what you see, change it.
Yeah, no, that sounds brilliant. I've not come across that. I'll have a look at that. Yeah, so Dream It Alive. I've got a short course about vision boarding on my website, and I'm not sure if that's one of the ones I recommend. So I'll go and check that one out and add that in. And I absolutely love Pocket. I live by Pocket. I always have something to read. And also, I always say to people, if you open loads of tabs on your computer, do you open loads of tabs on your computer of things that you intend to read later, and then you don't, and you shut your computer down and you've lost them all again? That's where Pocket comes in really handy, because you can just add them straight to Pocket and you don't have to keep them open, do you? And Scoop It.
Never come back.
No, exactly. And Scoop It, I do get their emails because I clearly registered a while ago, but then I haven't actually gone in and scooped anything for a long, long time. So I might have another look at that. And Rebel Mouse sounds great. So I'm going to definitely check that out later. So
Rebel Mouse is great. If you so on the Sister Snog site, there's the last tab is called Social Snog, and if you look at if you go on there to the left, I've kind of embedded my Rebel Mouse, and because you can also say which of the posts are seen. So I rotate it and have different sisters posts. So it always refreshes. You can put 25 different kind of posts in. And the last one, which may help those, is called the alphabetizer. So if you have a list of things, 20 things, and you've got to put them in alphabetical order, then use the alphabetizer because it'll do it for you.
Well, there you go.
I know, that's totally useless, but someone might need it one day. If you're cataloguing like your disco hits of the 70s, for example.
Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking that very thing.
I knew you were.
So again, you've produced a very good segue into the last question, which is about how people can find out more about you and connect with you.
Well, I'm ubiquitous, so I'm not really. No, I mean, obviously, I'm a great fan of social media. I do sort of have moments where I'm there more than not, but yes, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, the sort of the key ones I'm there, LinkedIn. Although I only link with people that I kind of have met, so I really have a bit of a policy not to link with strangers because they could be stalking me on Friday the 13th, which a bit scary there. But if you Google Hela Wozniak-Kay, you can find me, or on our website, our numbers are there. You can ring me or send me an email. And I always like to hear from people who are, who want to talk to me, unless they're, a nutter. So if you're a nutter, please don't get in touch.
So, I can't imagine if anyone Googles you, they're going to come up with anybody but you. So you probably are ubiquitous,
yes.
In effect.
It's really good because me and Annie are yin and yang, and there is only one Hela Wozniak-Kay, but unfortunately, Annie is Annie Brooks. And, we have so many kind of, seesaw differences, and even down to our names. But yeah, so I'm the soul of Sister Snog, and Annie's the heart, and she keeps the beat, and I kind of look after that sort of strange stuff that you can't quite bottle, but gives it its own flavour.
Lovely. So thank you so much. I've really enjoyed that, and even just that last line, I just think sounds so perfect. So thank you.
It's been brilliant, and have a marvellous day, and don't walk under any ladders or step on those cracks in the pavement.
Joe's Gems.
This is the part of the show where I do a recap of the key points of the interview, the stuff that I really liked, and the apps, books, music, tips and tools that were shared. This is for you if you heard something that you want to check out, but you couldn't write it down at the time. Hopefully I've got you covered. And this is the bit for the really time pressed. You can just listen here and get the gems from the interview. But of course, I wouldn't suggest you do that and miss out on the great conversation that I had with Hela. Hela shared quite a few tools and apps, albeit quite late in the interview, because I did actually forget to follow up on that as we moved through the interview and missed it out. But luckily she did interrupt me at the end and said, can I share some, please? So we talked about Evernote, which I've talked about on many of the podcasts already. And she said that her essential tool of life, which includes work and play and organising everything else, is Evernote. And she's not sure how she existed before Evernote came on the scene. And that she's a massive fan of Evernote, which is what I say as well. So definitely recommend Evernote. And we talked about resources for learning how to use it and getting best use from it. And I recommended Steve Dotto, who has a series of videos about it, and also a publication called Evernote Essentials by Brett Kelly, which is something that I read when I first started using it. And I talked about, as I think I've said already on one of the podcasts before, that I'm using Evernote to scan stuff in that I've kept before for sort of memories, like orders of service for weddings or cards that people have sent me. And I'm scanning them in, and then I'm able to sort of throw those away rather than keeping lots of information in the house that's, just really clutter. But I'm still keeping those memories. Another app that Hela talked about was Dream It Alive. She said it's a place where you can create your own vision boards and dream boards. We all need to dream and we all need to have goals. And it's about then writing them down and turning them into pictures so that you can see them to help you visualize. I have a mini course in my membership site, which is all about using vision boards. So really pleased to hear that resource recommended, Dream It Alive. We mentioned Pocket, which is one of Hela's favourite apps and also one of my most favourite, which I've talked about on so many occasions. And that's the app that allows you to save articles to it to be able to read them later and read them offline as well. Certainly something to use if you open tons of tabs thinking that you'll read things later in the day and then you don't get around to it and you shut the tabs and then you've lost all those articles. If you just open the tab and save it to Pocket, then you have got that stuff saved for, when you're ready to read it. Hela also talked about using Scoop It, which is a tool for choosing content, curating content that you like around particular topics and then writing your own comments on it. She also mentioned something called Rebel Mouse, which was new to me, which is all about aggregating all your tweets and your social media shares, which sort of shows you a snapshot of your social output. And Hela talked about how it enables you to see what you're doing and get a feel for who you are and what you're putting out. And then, if you don't like that sort of way that you're being portrayed, then obviously you've got a chance to change it. And then the last app, which did make me laugh, was Alphabetizer, which is if you have a list of things, she said, 20 things, and you need to put them in alphabetical order, then you can use Alphabetizer because it'll do it for you. She said, her quote, "There you go. I know that's totally useless, but somebody might need it one day, and I'm sure somebody will." It did make me laugh. So another resource that she shared is Medium Daily Digest, which is a site where you can sign up to get regular daily emails with interesting articles that might appeal to you. And Hela talked about it being a list of eclectic things that she's interested in. So the articles she shared that she'd seen that particular day when we were doing the interview, one was about elevating your side projects. Another one was about collecting experiences. And another one was about does a fake it till you make it attitude towards business work. So Hela uses it as a way of finding useful content and then potentially curating that content with her audience. When we moved on to talk about books, Hela's one of her favourite books, she said, is Purple Cow by Seth Godin. Then we talked a bit about music. She said she's inspired by disco music. She always has it on in the background to get herself into a good frame of mind. She described herself as being a disco queen. And then we talked a bit about films, and she said she quite likes films that are inspired by people overcoming struggle. So they're going through something, facing something that, they need to sort of get over, deal with, and so on. She said because being an entrepreneur, you do sometimes have to, you do deal with situations, get days where it's not sort of everything's not going well and you have to deal with those. As she says, not everything's quite rosy and peachy. And she also likes to watch films to relax. She's a Netflix addict and says that she might have things like House of Cards or a series called Once Upon a Time playing in the background, and she said she likes that because it's an ongoing story, and she said that actually inspired one of the Sister Snog events, which is called Once Upon a Dinner Time, and she says it's all about fairy tales and seems to be going on forever, so certainly one to check out. Moving on to tips, we talked a bit about business connectedness, which is a big part of what Hela does with Sister Snog. And she said you need to be connected in business because everybody's connected to each other, and that's how you'll get the doors open. And she talked about how people feed her and she feeds them. And then I like the quote, quite often we come up with something that is because of both of us. And she said, that's my work. So how brilliant is that? So, you know, that real idea, which I really buy into, of meeting people, connecting and building a relationship with them, because, you don't always know where those relationships are going to go. And sometimes there's people who want to network and sort of hand out business cards and sort of build their numbers of people that they know. But actually, because they're not building relationships, it's not as effective for them as sometimes just building a very close network of people who you really know and they really know you, and then you've got that real opportunity to recommend them to people, introduce them to people, and so on. Hela talked about planning on a Monday, which is something I do. She sees it as a planning day, a desk day where she probably won't go into London. She'll catch up, make phone calls, send emails, and that sort of thing. She talked about magical connections. She said, it's amazing what happens when two people sit down and just talk about whatever's going on in their business. And, I think it's so true. Those opportunities you get to really explore, different perspectives in a sort of, a way where you can share stuff with each other that can be really helpful to you within your business. And then a mantra for Hela, which we've talked about since the interview as well, is, when people talk to her about being very busy, she always says, I'm never too busy. I'm always doing lots of things. Because lots of people, and I think that's so true, lots of people in life say, when you say to them, how are you? They go, oh, I'm so busy. My emails are out of control and I'm doing X, Y, Z and blah, blah, blah. And it's all about being busy. But actually being busy isn't always about doing the things that need to be done. It's not necessarily about doing the things that move your business forward, that make you successful, that, really drive things forwards. It's very easy to just be busy. So I love that phrase. I'm going to say it again. I'm never too busy. I'm always doing lots of things. So, you're doing lots of things which are really important. It's not just about, filling your time with stuff that makes you busy. Hela likes cooking to relax, which is something that's come up before. I remember Kathy Brown in show 1 talked about that. And she talked about a morning gratitude routine. She said she has a bit of reflection time in the morning before she really gets going. And she uses Evernote, which she's already recommended as a tool. And she has a notebook called Gratitudes and writes something that she's thankful for every day. And she says she tries to write 7, which I thought was rather excessive. She said she tries to write 7 and doesn't struggle with that at all. But she likes to do that in the morning as a way of being thankful for the things that are going well, to sort of enable her to have a bit of mindfulness, I think, really, before she gets caught up in other stuff. We talked a bit about exercise, and Hela talked about having a personal trainer. She said her trainer is really good, really brilliant. And she says, she's not been working with her long, but she said she's really good. She said, because it's not about doing some crazy boot camp training. She said, because I don't wish to be tortured. So she said, she's good in how she's working with her, but also Hela's looking to work with her around how you can turn your home into a gym. So how you can do stuff using what you've got already at home that is really helpful to you, without, having to sort of go to a gym sort of thing. So she's talking about perhaps helping her to create some videos showing you how to turn your house into a gym, which I thought was really interesting. She talked about swimming for exercise and how she likes to be the first in the pool, but when she lived in Greenwich, she never actually achieved that, although we did laugh that now she's in Hove, a bit more provincial, maybe she might be able to make that happen. A quote she said, which I thought was so motivational, really liked, was, I always know you can't have a rainbow without some rain. Just love that concept that, for things to be really good, there needs to have been a sort of not so good or a really bad stage that you were in, and now you're moving through into something else. I really like that. I always know you can't have a rainbow without some rain. And she also talks about how life experience helps. When I talked about, or asked her about what happens on a bad day, she said, nothing's ever that bad. It just isn't. It might feel it for a moment, but she said, the longer you're around, the older you get, you realise you've been there before, you got through it, it happened. And sometimes, she said, sometimes instead of a bus, a limo comes along. So really lovely sort of view on that. But, as you get older, you realise that, stuff might seem like the end of the world, but, it isn't the end of the world. So to contact Hela, if you Google Hela Wozniak-Kay, you'll find her, because clearly there aren't many people, if anyone, called Hela Wozniak-Kay. And that'll take you to their website, which is sistersnog.com. And you can get in touch. You can call her or send her an email or whatever, perhaps connect up on LinkedIn. And she says about Sister Snog, it keeps me on my toes as much as hopefully it keeps the members fed with creative spark and interest. If you have something that you've created that's beautiful and wonderful, great business occurs, which I just think is a lovely way of describing the business and the networking that she creates in that business that she has, sistersnog.com.
Use your power to live more.
All this information is available on the show notes on the website powertolivemore.com/ in this case 22. If you'd like to sign up to get my weekly newsletter with more tips, strategies, ideas and tools to improve your power, you can do that on the website too. And if you go to powertolivemore.com/focus, you can download my free report about how to increase your focus for better productivity. And please do pop over to our Facebook group, which is at facebook.com/groups/using your power to live more. I'd love to see you there. And again, the link for this show is powertolivemore.com/22. And we look forward to speaking to you next time.